Not everyone will like you, and that's okay.
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit Hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Hello, and welcome to the Hopefulist. Thank you so much for joining me for your daily dose of inspiration and positivity. Coming up on Thanksgiving, people, it is almost turkey time. Are you ready to do a little gobble gobble? I know I sure am. Ready for some turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, cornbread casserole. I'm actually going to post the recipe for my now infamous cornbread casserole on the group page so everybody can enjoy. 5 ingredients. That's it. So good. It is not bread. It's a casserole. It's spooned, not cut. Just so you know, that is the way it is supposed to come out. So we are preparing for Turkey Day, doing my Christmas decorations. I'm a little slacking this year, I got to tell you. I'm usually done by now. I'm not done. I've been taking my time. I usually do everything all in one day. But I've kind of been taking my time this year. I had said to my husband on Saturday, I said, I haven't decorated at all today. He looked around the house. He went, what? I said today. As my tree is up, my lights are on. A number of ornaments and accoutrements have been added, but I haven't even gotten out my old ornament yet. So we still have some work to do. I had wanted to put out the outside lights this past weekend when my husband informed me that he was putting his foot down and insisting that they not be turned on until Thanksgiving or the day after. And I was like, what? Are you ordering me not to light Christmas lights? There was almost a problem, but I let it go. The quote for today comes from Will Smith. Don't chase people. Be yourself and do your own thing. The right people, the ones who really belong in your life, will come to you and stay. So true. It's so hard for us to accept this for some reason. We feel this need to be liked by everybody, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it, because do you like everybody? No, of course not. And, sometimes there's no ill will or anything. It's just people you don't, mesh with. Some people just kind of rub you the wrong way. Just something about them. It's okay. You don't have to like everybody, and thus everybody will definitely not like you. It feels very personal when somebody doesn't like you, but sometimes it's just not. Sometimes it's just you're a little too much for them, or you're a little too little for them, or you're a little too spaced out in your values and goals and lifestyle even, Sometimes it's really hard for people that don't have kids to keep up with relationships with people who do have kids. But, you can make a relationship work if you want. Both parties, though, obviously have to be willing. Back to some turkey talk. I wanted to hear from you. Do you prefer the white or the dark meat? I personally have always preferred dark meat. Maybe it was the way the turkeys were made as I was growing up, but I found the dark meat to always be much more moist. And the other problem with the white meat, if it's a little more dry, a lot of people pour the gravy on. I'm not a fan of gravy. Do not like gravy. So there's really no way for me to moisten up my white meat. Now, in the last couple of years, I have learned a little trick where I take a piece of white meat turkey, scoop it into my mashed potatoes, and then eat it, which is odd because I usually do not like mixing foods, but I have found that to be pretty pleasing to the palate. But I have always enjoyed the dark meat a little bit more than the white meat. Even with chicken, I prefer chicken thighs over chicken breasts. That's just me. That's just me. And now you know way more about my eating habits than you had ever wanted to know. Cheryl says, white meat, please. Have a happy Thanksgiving week. Thank you, Cheryl. Back at you. Michelle prefers the white. Marcy says white, but with lots of gravy. Denise is a cheater, says both. Mary says yes. Connie says dark. John says, I like white meat. Dark is more grease-like and a different texture that I don't like. I guess I'm a breast man. Alrighty there, John. Martin says dark and the neck. I used to eat the neck all the time. I really did. It's good. Wilbur says white. Eleanor says white. Nancy says both. Another cheater. And Michelle says the dark meat. So definitely white edging out the dark in my little informal poll. That is how you enjoy your turkey. My husband, not last year because we were out last year at the, my in-laws, his family, and we didn't make the turkey. We didn't make the turkey. But the year before, we had been home, and he made some delicious cream of turkey soup. Can you tell cream of broccoli is my go-to? Cream of turkey soup. So looking forward to having a little bit of that after Thanksgiving as well. Did I mention Ken Jennings has been named the interim host of Jeopardy. He's going to start taping episodes now that will be airing in January. I'm not sure how he's going to do as a host. You know, it's not something that he's really worked toward. I do believe that these plans were in place for a reason, him coming on, being part of the show, being one of the producers, and he started doing those video clips for some of the questions. So this has probably been the plan all along. I guess they're going to call him the interim host until they see how he actually does in front of people and on television. You know, these are all taped way in advance, obviously. So we'll see how it goes. I have a feeling if he does a good job, he's going to turn very quickly from interim to permanent host. We shall see. Somebody had mentioned James before. I don't know. James came around, but he was a little socially awkward at first. You remember he was so quiet. He didn't say anything at all when he first made his appearance on the show. But he really kind of came around after, I don't know, a couple months. I don't know how long he was on. He was on for a really, really long time. So Ken Jennings, the interim host of Jeopardy. The blog post for today, love yourself, flaws, and all. Now, I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. Keep in mind that everyone is not for you either. If there are people that aren't a fan of yours, then just tell yourself they're not your people. I'm loud, talkative, outgoing, competitive, opinionated, and all kinds of things that may turn people off. I come into a room, and you know I have arrived. There are people that don't like that. But then there are people who love that. Find your people. Even before that, though, you must learn to love and accept yourself. I know how impossible this sounds. Just a few years ago, I didn't think I would ever be able to like myself, let alone love myself. But here I am, thinking and knowing I'm a total badass and killing it at life. Ha! That's right. Because here's the thing. They go hand in hand. You won't truly live into your best life until you love yourself. That doesn't mean you have to love every aspect of yourself or stop trying to improve characteristics that can be bothersome. But realize that you are the way you are for a reason and maybe even a purpose. There may be aspects of yourself you don't like, but it is likely to have served a purpose somewhere in your past. I've always worried way too much about what others think. I credit that with one of the reasons, though, that I've been able to keep my weight reasonable. Not that I haven't had times when I've had to lose 15 to 20 pounds, including now, but I can usually rein myself in at some point and start taking off the pounds because I don't want people talking about my weight. Nothing worse than walking into a room of people you haven't seen in 6 months, and the first thing you know they're thinking is, whoa, Wendy really packed on the pounds, didn't she? Now, don't let this bother me as much as I used to, but it certainly has served me in the past, and hopefully it will help me to rein in now. When you get to a point where you can recognize parts of you may not like, can actually serve a purpose too, you are on your way. Listen, self-acceptance is hard. It can take a long time to finally get to that point where you are okay with the person you are. As with most things, we tend to focus on what we don't like. Whenever we start to be too critical about ourselves, we need to counteract it with 2 or 3 things we love about ourselves, because nobody's perfect. And everyone has aspects of themselves they are not crazy about. But I'm sure there is so much more to you that you are crazy about. I may be a reactive person and jump to the wrong conclusions at times, but I'm also very responsible, hardworking, loyal, and a pretty good friend. If you want to, you can work on yourself and improve certain areas, such as becoming more patient or less cluttered in your work area or anything you don't find to be appealing. But you are not just that thing. You have so much more to offer. Never forget that. Downplay the bad, play up the good. Soon you won't even be noticing the unattractive traits you used to worry so much about. Your energy goes toward what you focus on, so choose to focus on the good. And it's not like it's not hurtful when you find there are people who just really don't want anything to do with you. You just got to move on. You know, make other friends, different friends, more friends. You can never have too many friends, right? And when you come across that one person that you really like and you just don't seem to jive with them, they just don't seem to be interested like you are. And, you know, that's happened to me a number of times throughout my life. There's somebody that I really wanted to be friends with, and they just didn't seem interested. It hurts. Why not me? What's wrong with me? How can you not like me? I'm delightful. Got to move on. Sometimes you will just never know. And don't spend your life chasing people. People will come into your life that are meant to be there. But you got to get out there and do stuff. You got to get out there and meet people. And remember, when somebody does not like you, there are plenty of people, I'm sure, that you do not like. And sometimes it's not just a personal thing. It's just an aspect of their personality or what have you. Doesn't mean you're an awful person. Just means not your people. If you like today's episode, please leave a review or share it with your friends. I would be so grateful for you. Oh, here we go. Like I said, almost turkey time. So go on out there today and recognize all the good you have to offer the world. Every time you think something bad about yourself, come back with 2 things you love about yourself. 2 to 1. 2 to 1. It's not as hard as you think it's going to be. Trust me on this one. And of course, be your old badass self. I'm here cheering you on.
Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist, hosted by Wendy McClure. For more inspiration, please visit Hopefulist.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hopefulist.
Come on,